CSI, Law & Order, Prison Break. Your classic everyday crime shows. But if you take a look back in time, crime shows looked a little different. Well, actually, a lot different.
A lot of the old shows, they didn't really focus on the violence of the crime, and sometimes they didn't even actually show the crime, but they focused more on the psychological aspect of it and the criminal justice system, whereas a lot of the current shows don't have anything to do with the criminal justice system. They say, oh, we found who murdered him, but then they don't have anything about the trial or the sentencing, which was one of the biggest differences.
And the fact that these shows haven't always been as graphic or as gruesome or, and haven't even involved the same sort of crimes, as they do today.
Erica Fissel is a senior sociology criminology major here at Ohio University. When she dove into this topic, she had her hands full, but found some interesting results.
I found that until the late 1970s to early 1980s, they never actually showed the violent act. So they never showed the murder, and they very rarely actually showed the body afterwards, and there was never any blood or gore until like the 1970s, late 1970s.
Crime shows today depict every aspect of the criminal justice system, from the crime itself, to the courtroom, to the holding cell. But this holding cell in the Athens County Sheriff's Office isn't a typical holding cell surrounded by iron bars that you see in precincts on television. And Erica learned just that what is on TV and what is reality are not mirror images of each other.
88% of the shows that I watched had at least one murder in them, which is definitely not consistent with reality. And in some of the previous research that I read, they found that murder was 1,000 times more prevalent on television than it was in reality.
So her findings with relation to this historical progression, I think, are very important. And I think more research in general needs to be done in this area. We have, researchers have already found the existence of what's known as the CSI effect. And essentially this is the idea that juries are less likely to convict unless there's the sort of evidence that they're now used to seeing on these crime shows. And the fact is that that evidence really isn't there in many cases. And so, here we're having a direct result of perhaps this new aspect of our culture in these shows coming through in the courtroom as well.
I think for society as a whole, it helps people realize that they're fearful of the wrong things and the wrong people. The offenders that are portrayed on television are not what they actually are in real life, nor are the crimes. Property crime is the most common crime, but everyone fears the murder, so they're more fearful of that. But this research shows people what they actually should be on the lookout for and what they should fear. And for me, myself, when I went in to college and I was like, oh, I'm going to be a criminology major, I thought I was going to be super paranoid every single day because all we do is learn about crime and murder and everything. But especially through this research, I found out that it's not what it appears to be through the television shows.